Wednesday, July 14, 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is FON QUINTA, welcoming you to the morning edition of Prime Flash, coming to you live from our studios here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. Began this morning in the Central region, where three suspected kidnappers, aged 21, 23, and 28 years respectively, are currently under custody at the Judicial Police Post in the nation's political capital for kidnapping a 23-year-old girl, Harriet Anik Elomo. According to reports, they met the girl on Facebook and promised her a sum of 3 million if she travels to Douala. Upon arrival, she was held hostage, tortured, and a video footage sent to her parents demanding ransom. Investigations led to the arrest of the three young men, who will be presented to the press today. Lorik Njoka, popularly called Shakiro, and Roland Mwote, also known as Patricia, two transgenders who were sentenced to 5 years in jail and fined for attempted homosexuality, have been granted bail. Shakiro and Patricia were arrested in February and slammed a 5-year jail term for non-possession of identity cards, amongst others. According to the pair's lawyer Alice Com, they will be able to appear free for the next hearing in a court of appeal, but are not allowed to leave the country. Now, human rights working group of Stand Up for Cameroon have raised alarms on an increased human rights violation in the country. This was during its 6th report to review the level of human rights violation in Cameroon. Details in the following report. Tuesday, July 13, 2021, Human Rights Working Group of Stand Up for Cameroon, in its 6th report, review the level of violence and human rights violation that occurred from February 1 to June 2021 throughout the country.
The report has not greatly changed. To me, I don't see any changes because we still have so many violence that are being taking place. We have killings in the northwest and in the southwest, as well as in the far north. We have the ambas who are using each day passing more sophisticated weapons like the rocket launchers which we heard about, and it's really cause for concern. We also find ourselves with the situation of Gabu. That actually there was a hearing with respect to that, but no decision has been made, and we are still hoping that there is a decision that will be made. We still have political prisoners who are still in prison.
In its report, the group paid keen attention to major security crises in the country, including the Anglophone crisis, Boko Haram conflict in the north, and the management of funds against COVID-19 pandemic, which could not be presented to the National Assembly.
We also have a situation of the COVID gate that our funds have been missing. We have 180 billion that we've been asking up to today, and we've had no feedback with respect to that. You can clearly see that from this, we really have a problem of bad governance on the national territory, because no statistics. The Cameroonian citizens are not informed. The presentation of the audit was supposed to be done at the National Assembly 24 hours before then. It was removed from the agenda.
The observation of the Human Rights Working Group revealed that situations of violence are still on the increase. People are still dying on a daily basis. Kidnappings, explosions, gender-based violence, amongst others, are still ongoing. The group cited the case of some 6 divisional delegates kidnapped in the southwest and government silence, terming it act of irresponsibility.
Our government is not responsible because you can't send people to the field, you can't appoint people and ensure that you inform them and tell them, no, go, you will be secured, and they have been abducted. One has been killed, and up to today we are getting no information that the one who was buried, it was not publicly known, it was just done silently. Those who are still in the hands of the amber guys, nothing is said about them.
With growing insecurity and violence on the rise in the country, the report of the Human Rights Working Group urged the government to ensure a strict respect for all Cameroonians and torture and other degrading treatments, release those arrested in total violation of Cameroonian laws and procedures, and provide clear and objective information on the actual situation in different conflict areas. Nabakot in Douala has held third meeting of members of the Board of Directors of the Daniel Muna Foundation, initially scheduled for Tuesday, July 13, 2021. The meeting was postponed to a later date after two of the shareholders filed an injunction against the meeting. Details with Lasha Kingsley.
Contrary to public opinion, the Muna's children are not fighting. These are the words of George Muna, one of the sons of late Solomon Tande Muna. He was speaking Tuesday, July 13, 2021 at the Daniel Muna Memorial Clinic in Bonanjo, Douala, after a failed board meeting of the clinic.
We came for a board meeting. We said the board meeting should be cancelled until we have those documents. When you are going to consider administration, you must have documents that prepare you for that meeting.
Administrative documents.
And we asked during the last meeting, we asked for documents which were not given. So we came this time. So we got a lawyer to ask not to fight the clinic or the board, but to ask that they should give us those documents. Then we come to the meeting. It was not given to us.
Chebifon Diboe Muna, son of late Edwin Muna, a board member, explains everything has been going on well with the clinic until recently.
So all of us came. The clinic is a SR. It was previously Polyclinic Bonanjo. A few years ago, they changed it to Daniel Muna Memorial Hospital, but it's still a SR. So it's managed by a board of directors, which have made up of the 8 families. So for many years, it was working okay. When Daniel Muna passed, it was okay because the other brothers were managing. For the past 5 years, we have had 5 members that are deceased, but they have their administrator, their children that are around. And we have 3 active members that are around, precisely George Muna, Ama Muna, and Akere Muna. But what is happening is that each time we come for a board meeting, as you can see today, we had a board meeting, Akere Muna did not show up. So Akere Muna doesn't come to no board meeting. And he's manipulating things from the back. When you talk about sale of the property, I don't know. But there are many things he's doing from the back. So we also heard rumors that he wants to sell the building and leave.
He also explains that Akere Muna has been sentenced by a court in Yaoundé for forgery of family inheritance.
But if you guys go on Google and you type Akere Muna, condamné, you people will see that the same Akere Muna has been condemned in court of Yaoundé at first instance and at court of appeal for faux et usage de faux mauvaise pratique, you will see. Et on l'a laissé because he's outside on probation. So he's been condemned and he appealed at the Supreme Court. So the matter is at the Supreme Court. But Akere Muna continued to manage. So today the minister went to court to say he continues to manage, even though there are 2 court decisions against him. Being the smart lawyer that he didn't show up, because it's wrong for him to continue to manage.
Former Minister of Arts and Culture, Ama Tutu Muna, was in court on Tuesday, July 13, to press hard for documents that were supposed to be provided to all the shareholders before the board meeting.
Clinic when he doesn't have the right to manage the clinic. That's one. Second, the clinic is plumbed by embezzlement. The clinic is a SR. At the end of the month, they wire the excess money to Akere Muna's account, and he takes the money and do whatever he wants to do. You guys remember the elections of 2018. It was funded from money from the clinic. This is not a political party.
The real problem of the family, as revealed by the shareholders, is that the 5 of the 8 sons of ST Muna feel they are cheated because there has been no accountability on how the clinic has been functioning.
Now, the executive of FECAFO, despite objections from the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, organized an extraordinary assembly yesterday, July 13, in Yaoundé. Henry Wana attended the extraordinary assembly and files in the following report.
They came out in their numbers as usual whenever the roll call is launched to rectify and adopt the new status of the football governing body, FECAFOOT, which has for several years been posing lot of controversy. But that which caught their attention and made every tongue wagging was the squabble from the divisional officer of Yaoundé 2 to have banned and within 2 hours granted the request from the interim team headed by Mbombo Njoya to hold the General Assembly. According to Mamadi Mahamat, this is not the time to start playing the blame game, but rather a time to better reflect on how to give our country a befitting image in the upcoming AFCON.
Cette assemblée est extraordinaire. Ce qui est important à dire, sans verser dans la politique, c'est de dire que nous devons savoir rester sereins. Nous irons à la CAN.
He further adds he was in a tight situation to give a firm decision about the holding of the General Assembly, given that he got a series of complaints from different parties. But at the end of the day, Cameroonians should be hopeful. This should be the last stroke on the camera's back to assist the government smoothly organize the FON 2021. The night seemed to be very long, as the power tussle in the Chinga House has been long overdue. One thing Cameroonians desire to see will be a new chapter free from wranglings within the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT.
News out of the country. Death toll in South Africa has risen to 72 as violence continues across the country following the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. Crowds looting and setting alight shopping malls clashed with police in several cities on Tuesday. South African police said in a statement they had identified 12 people suspected of provoking the riots and that a total of 1,234 people had been arrested. President Cyril Ramaphosa has called it some of the worst violence witnessed in South Africa since the 1990s before the end of apartheid, with fires started, highways blocked. Violence in South Africa. The African Union Commission has condemned the violence that has left 72 people dead. In a statement, the AU Commission chairperson Musa Faki Mohammed condemns in the strongest terms the surge of violence that has resulted in the deaths of civilians and appalling scenes of looting public and private property. The chairperson calls for an urgent restoration of order, peace and stability in the country in full respect of the rule of law. We've come to the end of the morning edition of Prime Flash on My Media Prime Television. My name is FON QUINTA. Coming up next is In the House with Eileen. So stay tuned. Some more programs on the African Ag. Bye.